You're now listening to So You Were Saying
with Dora and Lex.
Tune in every Friday for the latest episode.
Hey guys. Go
what
off.
in the world was that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to cut. We are not on live.
Y'all, she said. Like, we didn't even get the intro out.
You want to know what it was? It was me trying to remember our intro. That's to be completely honest. Like, it's ridiculous.
Hey, y'all.
No, first
That's
of all,
you.
That's
That's
me.
you.
That's what I said.
I'm telling you
hey,
your part.
guys.
So
Yeah.
you just.
No, I know. But then it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's a hey. Okay, go ahead. But anyways, go off.
You are now tuned in to another episode of So You Were Saying with your host,
Dora
and Lex. Oh, okay. We got a little extra beat in there.
Today we felt fancy.
Yeah, because she had to make up for that.
Exactly. You ain't gonna hear that because I'm gonna cut that out.
You better not.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Today.
Welcome back. Hello.
What episode is this? We're in season 3 still,
We're in
right?
season 3,
All right.
episode 2.
Really, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It was the vent, the first episode, and we're here for the blame game.
The blame game.
And let's be completely honest, I'm not exactly sure of what this topic is, but we're about to find out. And let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. All right. So when I initially thought about this name, the name for this episode, God, I can't think right now. I was sitting in the car and I had just had a random conversation with Penelope, and it just like gave me flashbacks through different parts of our relationship and then just my life with people in general.
Okay.
Right. And I realized that there in life, like the blame game is a real thing where you just fail to take responsibility for your actions over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
I'm just saying, just want to like throw it out there.
Shots were fired.
No, you know what it is that at one point in my life I used to play the blame game, right? And then I learned to take responsibility for my things. And I'm not always the best at it. Even to this day, I'm definitely not always the best at it. My issue is apologizing. So like when I'm wrong, it's the apology of the blame it's not really that I'm blaming anything. I just don't like to apologize. So I no longer play the blame game. I just haven't gotten to a point of my self-evolution where I'm like okay with apologizing right off the bat.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. I cringe. My heart. I get angry when I have to apologize. I'm like, I don't want to freaking apologize to you. Like, I just don't. I don't like.
Wait, hold on. Is this just apologizing just in general, like in like any type of relationship, or is it just with the whole situation with Penelope?
No, with Penelope.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, I was like,
no, within my relationship.
Okay.
In other areas, I don't have a problem apologizing. I'd be like, okay, no, my bad. It was my fault. You know, sometimes it doesn't always come out so soft and like sweet and whatever. But I'll own up to my crap. I'm like, all right, my bad.
Right.
I messed up.
Okay.
But with Penelope, yo, when I tell you, my heart gets like.
But okay, so
God.
I mean, a little bit of background story without giving a whole bunch of tea. I think that has to do with the fact of the type of relationship that you have with Penelope, where you guys are currently, and also the fact that he's petty as all hell.
Yo, I'm telling y'all, if y'all knew this man, y'all would understand why
he's petty
the way I am.
With shady boots.
His name. I can't even give y'all his name. He's gonna give out his real name, but bro, King Petty. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Like I don't even know how we last this long. How we have lasted this long. Let me English. Let me English today.
No, but I think you want to know what it is. I think because I don't think that I have. I mean, have I played the blame game as far as not taking responsibility, because there were definitely things that I had full control of that I just didn't do, and this is why it didn't work out. Of course, Dora. Like this is Dora's title. Like, oh my God, that like that essay didn't get written until like 5 hours before it was due. My computer and this, that, and the third. But realistically, like you had 30 days to write it.
Right, and you just definitely procrastinated.
Exactly. So because I'm a procrastinator, like I completely own the title of like. There's no shame in my game. I do never like, not that I never do it, but I always try to like, well, it wasn't really me, but secretly deep down inside, I know it was me.
It was 100% you.
Right, exactly. But as far as like the apologizing thing, I think, and that's what I'm saying, I think I only have a problem apologizing when it comes to petty people. Because when it comes to petty people, like,
Yo.
oh God, like I just
The
do
fact that they're
dislike,
right
right.
or like
But the thing
you're
is,
wrong with something dealing with them for me is like,
yeah, it grinds my gears.
yo.
Grinds my gears.
That's why I really be angry.
No, and I understand, and that's why I can't date a petty person. That's why, hey Penelope, how you doing, boo boo? No, me and you would never work out because I would knock you out. I just can't do it. You want to know what it is? It's the arrogance behind it.
Yes.
It's look at you having to apologize.
Yo,
Oh God.
exactly.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. Like, yeah, you were wrong. Come on. Come on. Come on. I know you was wrong. I
You're
was
about
right.
to.
I was right. Da, 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 da. And
Oh God. You're about to catch this
I'm like,
1-2 and
yo, I'm
like
about to
front kick
knock
to the
you
throat.
right through. Right. I'm about to knock you two front teeth down your throat and you ain't going to be able to talk no more. And that's just that.
I'm done.
But I mean, outside, okay, so like outside of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
still the blame game, people who don't take responsibility and just really, really, I'm talking about in every situation, it's never their fault. I can't tolerate them.
Right. Okay. So I need to clarify. I do the blame game because I don't want to be categorized with those. It's them, the others. Um, I don't want to be classified with them. I never take like the blame game where I never take responsibility. It's always outcomes that affected me. It's only things that affect me.
Right.
If, for example, it involves work, if, for example, it involves some sort of, project that I have with like friends or family, I definitely know if I messed up, I am taking responsibility like it was me. This is what I didn't do.
Right.
And I always make sure that I hold myself accountable because I never want to be responsible for something not working out that involves other individuals.
Right.
But the main thing that we can use, like for my example of where the blame game comes around is wait. Hello.
It wasn't my fault. What
It
do you
wasn't my
mean I gained this
fault.
much weight?
With the binge eating, like, yeah, it's like, oh my God, it's because I'm addicted to food. I'm addicted. You don't understand how much of addiction is bad. But realistically, there have been times that I've been able to, it's not like it's happening without me knowing, even though to an extent it is, but it really isn't. Like,
Right.
once you have acknowledged the fact that you are a binge eater, anytime that you are binging, you are, aware.
You're well aware.
Right, exactly. So it's just kind of like at that point, it's just you have to mind over matter. Like you have to be able to do what you need to do to not resort to those comforts, which is food.
Right.
But we choose to not do that because it's just more comfortable to just binge. But yeah, that's my playing game. So sad.
You know what? I feel like the blame game in families is the worst.
God, dear Lord. So
Yo,
relevant. Mm.
I'm just saying, like the blame game within a
Mhm.
family dynamic
Mhm.
is the worst to me, my opinion,
No, it is.
the worst type of blame game that there is.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
when I'm about to go into some stuff. Hold on. When
She's trying to figure out what tea she cannot spill.
that is exactly what is happening right now. I'm processing in my brain. I'm like, okay, I can't say this, but I can say this. I can't say this, but I can say this.
I literally saw it in her face. I'm like,
But okay, so for example, right, I'm gonna just use myself because I don't want to step on too many toes in my family right now because whatever. But
oh God.
on my own, right? So like for the longest time, I used to blame my mom for how I was, right? And
Mhm.
I've expressed this to you guys before, which is why I'm openly saying it now because I can share this tea about myself, my
Right.
own, whatever. For the longest time, I blamed my mother for how I was.
Mhm.
Let's be clear that after a certain point, after a certain age, after a certain, after many experiences, you have to take responsibility for who you are and make sure that you're holding yourself accountable to who you want to be and not allow your past to keep holding you in captivity basically. Like you're not going to progress in life unless you learn to take responsibility and stop blaming others for how you are because they were problematic to the person that you were, but it doesn't have to be who you are. Like
Right.
you're grown now and whatever your mommy or daddy did to you, before, it's your job to work through it as an adult.
Right. So I think it comes down to the fact of when once you're conscious of what the problem is,
Right,
then it's your responsibility of fixing it.
right.
Prior to that,
Prior to that, you know,
right, you're
I
you're
get it.
kind of you haven't had that revelation. But once it's like in the forefront and you're like, okay, Dora, like this is what you do,
Right.
then if you're choosing to play Boo Boo the Fool or a blind eye to that, then that's your responsibility.
Yo, but I don't even know, like, people who play victim 24/7 drive me insane.
God.
I'm talking about, like, completely drive me insane. Like, nothing is your fault. You played no part in this.
Right,
You telling me that you play no part in what's happening right now in your life.
right. Like
It's
you're the only one.
all,
Your
you know,
actions have no consequences ever.
ever, ever.
And
And that's what I'm saying. For y'all, I'm not sitting here just I'm not throwing shots. I was that person for
right.
a very long time. Like I know it takes time. I know that it's not easy. I know that it requires a lot of hard work to get out of the victim mindset.
Mhm.
But the blame game is the victim mindset.
Mhm.
Let it go.
Right. And the thing is, while you're trapped into that blame game, I guess, episode or period in your life, it is very difficult to find any solution to any conflict.
Any
And
conflict.
especially when you're speaking about families. Oh boy, like
Yo,
can't spill that tea, but just letting you know, there are
I'm
there are
not even
whole
saying
there
nothing
are
at
whole
this point.
families that aren't speaking to each other because of not being able to take responsibility for their part of the situation.
It's crazy.
Because again, conflicts have many different sides. Sometimes it's not just one individual, especially when it comes to families, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's multiple individuals that did a little bit wrong here, a little bit wrong here, a little bit, and then in total, it just became a
A
big,
big
big
thing.
ball
Right.
and it became a problem, right? But the thing is, in order for us to be able to sit down and come to the table, everybody needs to be honest. And I think that's also part of the blame game is you have to get comfortable with honesty not always being nice and honesty not
Yes.
always being
Something that you're gonna agree
right,
on. Like you
exactly.
have to be able to be mature enough to agree
Mhm.
to disagree and
Mhm.
still move on and
Right.
move forward and in a positive manner and not holding grudges towards your family
Mhm.
just
And
because I
the
don't see
thing
eye to eye.
right. And I think also when it comes to like the family dynamic, that's always a big problem because everybody's like, "Oh, well, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings." But sometimes the truth does hurt your feelings
Absolutely.
because the actions that you did, guess what, hurt somebody else's feelings.
But I would rather you hurt my feelings with the truth
Mhm.
than to allow me to live blindly to what is happening or the issues that I'm causing or maybe just not seeing or whatever the case
Mhm.
may be and let me digest it and process it and then we move from there versus you holding back
Mhm.
from what you want to say or what you want to express because you don't want to hurt my feelings.
But to be honest um, with that whole situation, there are individuals that aren't ready or don't even not I don't even want to say aren't ready, but don't want to dive that deep. You see, I feel
You
like
can only meet somebody where they're at.
right. No, no, no. But what I'm saying, you know how like the what is it called? Like the whole self-awareness, right?
Right.
Like we find it very important to be self-aware
Right.
and always taking that look inside and within and figuring out, what
There are
your
people who really
actions
don't do that.
exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
Yo,
Those individuals
I
that
don't
don't do that
understand
and
it.
don't even believe in that, like
Don't understand
they
it
will not. And no,
ever.
I was shocked, but like a close family member of mine said, "Well, why is it like things aren't that deep?" I, I said, "Okay, wait, hold up." I
What?
was like, "What do you mean things aren't that deep? Like everything comes from something." Right? And they're like, "Yeah, but sometimes it just is what it is." I was like, "Then that doesn't make sense." I was like, "You're not looking." I was like, "It's not to give everything a definitive answer, but it's just being more of figuring out truly who you are because there's people that go their entire lives and don't know who they actually are. They just have
Yes.
these masks of who they show the world and that's who they believe that they are, but it's not truly what makes them happy and it's not truly who they are deep down inside. But
Mhm.
they never just want to take that venture because to them it's just like, oh, okay, well, it might bring up problems, and at the end of the day, what I don't see, what I'm not aware of, then I don't have to deal with it.
It's still somebody else's fault.
Hmm. Right.
Oh god. I don't even you know what? I don't even think that dang man, I'm telling you, when you meet the right people in your life,
Mhm.
they bring so much clarity
Of
that
course.
you never like expected or you never even knew existed for
Mhm.
that matter. And I'm just so thankful. Like just sitting here having this conversation, I'm like, I'm just so thankful the path that I took, as hard as it was for me. Everybody's heart is different, right? As
Right.
hard as it was for me, I can't even imagine who I would have been had I not came across the people that I've come across in my life.
Of course.
Because looking from where I came and the family that I come from, yo, I got lucky. I
Yeah.
got lucky. I'm blessed, but like I got lucky because
It's just
it's
you're
insane.
confined to the mentality of how far you can see, right? So it's like if your
Right.
circle is so small, then that's all you know, and that's all that you'll ever know if you don't step outside of that.
Right.
And with that whole, thing of self-awareness, there's a lot of people also that don't believe that traumas exist through circumstances in your life. And that
Oh
was like,
my god.
"Oh
Can I
my."
tell you this?
Mhm.
Literally this morning, I was having a conversation with Penelope and this man was driving me up a wall because I promise you, he was driving me up a wall. We were
Mhm.
talking about therapy and trauma and things like that,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Just I mean, I'm not gonna give you guys the full story, but this is the conversation that we were having. And it came up like, oh, but if someone had a good life, how are they traumatized?
Right.
And I
Mhm.
was like, you don't think that trauma comes in many forms?
Right.
You're telling me that just because you assume that they had a good life or that it projects itself to seem
Right,
that
that
way,
image.
that
Mhm.
image of a good life, that there was no underlying traumas there?
Right.
Yeah, no, sir.
And this is not saying that everything is a trauma because I don't believe that either. I think that some people go through bad circumstances and can end up not being traumatized by it.
Absolutely.
However, there are those individuals that go through like mild circumstances and are
And they're
and end up
completely
traumatized.
traumatized.
Right. It's all how the person internalizes it. But saying that it's just like, oh, you're diving too deep, you're going too deep. But it's just like for me that seems natural. That's what I naturally want to do. That's how I naturally get to know myself.
Right.
But to kind of just like make a blanket statement like, "Oh, it's too much," and people are just walking around saying everybody's traumatized because that's the thing, that's the fad,
That's
that's
the
the
fad
rage.
right now, right?
No,
Right. Yeah.
that's not true. Like we're coming into a lot of awareness now because we've seen the consequences of not diving that deep before. All
Or
these
just
people.
like pushing it all down.
Exactly.
Keep generations of just like being silent,
Exactly.
generations of just taking it because it was normal. Like
Exactly. Or you
that it
weren't
was
allowed or you
right.
couldn't have a voice.
You couldn't have a voice.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I don't even want to
Right.
get but that's what I'm saying. Like now is a time where people are vocalizing like, hey, these are the issues that I'm having. I need to talk about them. And this happened to me and blah blah blah. And it should be normalized.
Mhm.
Like being able to talk through your problems and really just like figure out the root of the issue,
Mhm.
that's something that I feel like everybody should be doing.
But I feel like the people that don't do all these things tend to have more of that blame game
Yes.
mentality. And I've
Yes.
noticed that. Like as we're talking and I'm like, wait, I think this is all correlated somehow. Um but
And
I
the blame
do.
game
Right.
also like has a like if I had to put the blame game in a circle, what is it called? Where a branch, a
Okay.
tie. You know what I'm talking about? I'm thinking about like
Right.
I gotta
A
draw it. I'm a
Venn
visual,
diagram.
you guys. I'm a visual person, so I had a whole Venn
Mhm.
diagram just now in my head. But
They overlap with something
yeah,
else.
they
Right.
overlap with excuses.
Of course.
Excuses.
Mhm.
Because I have this particular person in my head right now that I'm thinking about, and I'm just like, oh,
Send it through girl.
okay. So whatever, I can't, I can't telepathize that right
Okay.
now, or whatever the word
Mhm.
is. Um, but this person plays victim a lot,
Mhm.
right? In just many different areas of their life,
Oh, I think I know. Okay.
but then also has a thousand excuses as to why certain things can't get done
Mm.
that they want to get done, but they don't really want to get it done because if you wanted to get it done, technically we all have the same 24 hours in a day to get things done, and
So
you
wait,
choose
hold
not
on.
to.
So that I will say, for procrastinators, our 24 hours are set up differently.
No, Dora, you're okay. Let me tell you about Dora. Dora keeps saying she's a procrastinator. Let me tell you about Dora. Dora is a very particular individual. One, she spins a lot of plates, right? And on each plate, she has about 4 spoons, 4 knives, 4 butter knives. I mean, 4 forks. Sorry, and like all everything plus the cups, right? On each plate, right?
Lord.
So her issue is she be trying to fill the cups after she filled up the plate, and then it's too much, and then everything is too heavy, and then it just kind of like. But she be prioritizing sometimes where it just works out, and she gets everything done. And the
It's
shit
a
that
little bit of
the
luck too.
stuff, sorry, the stuff that that can be put on the back burner, she puts on the back burner. Like she's making it seem like, oh, I just procrastinate so much, and like I just wait till last minute to get everything done. No, that is not true. She handles the major things first, like the non-negotiables,
Mhm.
and then everything else that's negotiable, she'll move it around until like last minute. But she gets it done. So let's be clear.
Something.
I can't with her.
I still feel like I'm a no, honestly, if because the times like that I've been on my game, right? When I was waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, getting
Uh
that
huh.
workout done, then starting, looking at my businesses, looking at my investments, and then starting my 9 to 5. I was like, yes, thriving. You see, that's what I'm saying. I can allocate time a lot better than what I do, and I just don't. And that's
But
I
I
am the
also feel like
problem.
you juggle so much that it's okay that right now in this stage in your life that you don't have to be that set up, that
Right. No, I understand.
stickler about it.
Right. But still, I just I know I'm a
Yo, I swear I
procrastinator.
can English. I swear I can English, okay?
I think I developed ADHD or ADD, one of those during Corona. But that's nor here nor there. That's another conversation.
Oh
But go
god.
off.
But no, my point to like whatever was when you have a person who lacks the ability to take responsibility for their actions, they then lack the ability to take responsibility for the outcome of their life.
Mhm.
And to me, that is just like mind blowing because nobody, no one but yourself made every step along your life besides you.
I have a question. Do you feel like those individuals that are constantly like playing victim and, it's like pointing the blame to someone else, do they also tend to struggle with like lying? Because the person that I know does. And not lying like
Like white
maliciously,
lies
but
or
like
like
white lies, like constantly, like there's little things of like either lying by omission or just lying like a little white lie, like I need to always defer and change things. I'm just
you
trying to
know,
compare our persons.
um not everyone, but some.
Okay.
Like off the top of my head, I could definitely pinpoint two.
Hmm.
But then there's another, few that I can think about that it's like they don't really lie, but they are exactly the person that we like the type of individual that we're speaking about.
Right. I was just curious because the person that I know is just like lying is part of it as well. And I think lying is used as kind of like, I don't want to say a scapegoat, but like that is their antidote of like that is the way that they get away with being able to blame everybody else
Oh,
because they
absolutely. They
always
lie to
add right,
themselves.
right. They
First of
lie
all,
to
they lie
themselves.
to themselves first
Hmm.
and then lie to others.
Right.
And I don't you know what's funny? Like you say, it's not maliciously,
Hmm.
but it's just like it comes naturally almost.
Right. It's just to save their behind so that the image of themselves of whatever they did not do
Right.
and whatever they're pointing to somebody else. It's like,
Yes.
oh, but this, oh,
Oh,
but
but
this,
that.
oh, but this.
Yeah.
But all of it is not always factual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, no, those people need. I don't know.
I think everybody need therapy at this point. That's just me. That's
Well,
just my
yeah,
personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion, you guys. I believe in therapy. Everybody should go to therapy. I'm
I
just
do.
saying.
Um,
Um, therapists go to therapy. I'm just saying like it's
therapists be the first one in line.
absolutely, absolutely. Because I feel like therapy doesn't have to be the way that people make it seem, where it's so like formal, like
Hmm.
and professional, whatever. You find your own therapy that works for you. You find a person or a thing or a hobby that can really just get you. in a zone of clarity and being able to process everything that you do in your day to day that allows you to really just digest it all so that way it's not bottled up.
Right.
That
And
doesn't have
sometimes
to be a therapist, but it should be something.
right. And sometimes, like funny enough, I was having this conversation about therapy. I was like, the importance of therapy is sometimes to just get an outside perspective because the fact that we all have different backgrounds and have different experiences make us sometimes a great asset to somebody else
Right.
because those experiences might be beneficial to their lives and they don't even know it. Or you don't even know it because you've never actually like divulged any information
That's
outside.
like you for me.
Oh, for
Literally, that's
both
like
of
you
us.
for me.
Yeah. I think this is why our friendship works because we're very but I think it also you have to be prepared. Like I don't know how to explain it. You have to be prepared and you also have to establish what type of friendship you want to have because I also don't believe that the dynamic that we have between each other would work with everybody.
No,
I
no,
think
it
some
wouldn't.
people would be upset.
But
Mm.
but it's true what you said as far as like different perspectives and experiences
Mhm.
because there are a lot of things that I learned from you just because you lived a different life completely from what I lived. There are a lot of things that I'm still learning that like just okay, for example, right? Dora comes from a complete I call it the completed household. She had both her parents and she had a sibling. So, you know, what it was like a whole family, right? I did not come from that. My parents split after a while. It wasn't the healthiest of relationships. It was pretty toxic after a while. So I witnessed a lot of toxicity within a relationship growing up. Um, and I don't have the type of family values that Dora has. However, I admire her family values. And over the years, I've learned from watching her family dynamic. And it's things that I'm like, I want that in my life. Like I don't want to be the type of person that I am being because it's just not like it's not completing and fulfilling to me. It's not what I want for myself, right? But when I see people like that that come from whole families, that come from families of love. And it doesn't you don't have to be a whole family like a mother, father being together. But what I mean, like if you have great co-parenting skills and your child just knows that it's all love and it's never just or not never, but it's not always so toxic and just damaging and whatever, like that's important. And I see that and I'm just like, oh man, like I love that. That's what I want. I need to learn how to be I want to learn how to be that person, that type of person that I can provide that to my daughter. Like, if
That's
that
so
makes any
sweet.
sense.
Yes,
I hope that makes sense,
that's so sweet.
'cause
But the basis being complete for me, because obviously, given the day and age that we live in, it's mostly of the foundation of your household being love,
Right. Love.
and that's all it is. That's literally what I was raised in, and yeah, no, but I mean, I also learn from I've learned from you as well. I mean, there's
Not
a
not
lot of
not in not in the family area, y'all, I promise my shit is my family my family's a hot mess.
well, no, no, because there's certain perspective. Okay, so what I've learned
I have to
as
stop cursing. Sorry.
you do. Mm-mm. I can't cut all those out. This might be explicit, y'all. No, but as far as like what I've learned, also to open up my it has to do maybe not so much as far as family structure, but as far as opinions and the because you've always had a very different outlook to not just to different situations, like different conversations, different decision making, the way that you went about certain things. And that's also been very eye opening to me because many times it's just you do what you know, but what you know is not always right. And sometimes other individuals have better perspectives to that, or they say little things that spark a different idea in your head and how you're going to go about it. And that's why with you, I vibe a lot of ideas and I'm like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Because we don't think and we don't process the same way. And because I'm more of an well, my goodness,
I told you we can't
English,
English.
emotional person versus a person that sometimes could be a little bit more analytical towards certain things, I I can benefit of that. because sometimes I'm just going through and making decisions based off of my heart, and you're here like, no, girl, you need to use your brain for this one. It's like, I get it, I see, but there's a different perspective. And not to say that I always take her suggestions, but I definitely do put that into input as along with other individuals that I have in my life. But I think you learn through time. You learn that that's why it's important to have friends and build relationships and
Right.
network with people, because we need that as a society. We need that. It also will make things a lot more inclusive towards everybody, because you learn to understand and really respect differences, even if you don't agree.
That's one thing I'm learning from Dora right now, but I'm not gonna go into that topic right now because it's a lot.
Okay.
But we had a conversation yesterday, her and I was just like, "Yep, I can't wrap my head around that. I just can't. It just doesn't make sense."
I was like, it's
And
just different.
She's like, "It's just different. You
It's
don't
just
have to
different.
agree. You
It's just
have
different."
to be respectful." And I'm like, "I guess."
But that's just what it is. But
Oh god. Okay, we're gonna end it here though. But yes, the blame game, y'all. If you find yourself constantly blaming others, I advise you just take a step and really internalize what you got going on, because I promise you it's probably not everybody's fault that your life isn't going the way that you want it to. Not saying that they don't have an impact on it. I'm saying you are the final decision maker because it's your life.
right.
It's your life. You have to choose every day where you want to go, how you want to get there, who you want to be when you get there, and just act accordingly. But it's
Well, that's
you.
like the reel that you sent me.
What I
We
say?
don't get to choose what happens to us, but we definitely get to choose on how we react.
Exactly.
Oh, look at reels coming into real
Coming
life.
through. Well, we're gonna end it here, you guys. As always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of So You For Staying. This episode of the Blame Game has been fun. But until next time, we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.